Welcome to the In My Opinion Show with Ronald, Robinson, and friends, seen on the internet 24 hours, 7 days a week. To view our catalog of programs, type in capital letters RBR IMO, and then go to videos. I want to welcome our millions of viewers in the world, and I also want to welcome my very talented co-hosts. I have Mrs. Denise Smith Allen.
Hi, Ron.
Miss Jackie Williams.
Hi, Ron.
And the incomparable Mr. Henry Hatter.
Hi, Ron and Denise.
Right.
Welcome all to the In My Opinion Show. Governor Snyder versus Flint, Michigan. Michigan Republican Governor Snyder was the architect that created the genocide now infecting thousands of human beings in Flint, Michigan and around the state and world. As a result of his insidious genocidal instructions to his emergency manager, Darnell Early, announced Flint Mayor, 21st century idiot Mayor Walling, that drinking the Flint River water was safe. Regardless of Snyder's lies to the city and world on national and international news and his promise to be transparent, he still continues to evade facts and release emails with blacked out obstructions in regards to the horrific water crisis. Snyder, your political career is over, but so is the lives of thousands that have been poisoned by your actions to save a few dollars. It will now cost the taxpayers of Michigan billions. Governor Snyder is the one that had to agree to any switching of water from Detroit, Michigan to Flint, Michigan river water. Michiganders and the world must not listen to any more of Snyder administration's hustle and snake oil propaganda bullshit. Maybe the plan all along was to destroy this majority African American community. The question that we must ask ourselves, would this have happened in a white community? The answer is no. Snyder's emergency managers and other members of his administration and others that caused or were a part of this death situation are no different than terrorists like ISIL and ISILs, Syrian President Assad, or Timothy McVeigh, the Oklahoma bomber. They too killed without conscience. In addition to this poison lead in the toxic Flint, Michigan drinking water, families must pay hundreds of dollars, if not thousands, for water they cannot drink, bath, or cook in, and is killing human beings. Speaking of water bills, if you don't pay, your credit is ruined, the city will take it to collection, and you more than likely will lose your property in foreclosure to the county. The careers of many involved in this water crisis is over. Heads are going to roll. Hopefully, the investigation will result in prosecution of the guilty and prison sentences. This situation is too toxic and monumental for any more cover-ups. So I'm appealing to any and all persons that have knowledge of this catastrophe to come forward and tell what you know. Don't let Snyder, Erling, Walling, or anyone else pull you into the gutters with them. Flint, Michigan, City Council members, you yourselves are not immune to any prosecution. Tell what you know. You were hired by the people, and you took an oath of office to serve them honestly, transparently, and faithfully, and to protect. So help you God. Many of you let your constituents down. Don't let anyone involved, regardless of how deep or minor, pull you into the gutters with them. Let's make my adopted city of Flint, Michigan whole again. The great people of this city deserves this. Michigan Governor Snyder ousted Flint Mayor Walling, former Water Director Croft, all appointed EM managers, past and present, of Flint, Michigan, and all other officials, local, state, federal. This also applies to past city, state, and federal officials. Must testify in federal court and the Justice Department under oath what they knew and what they did or didn't do that created this deadly drinking water crisis in Flint, Michigan. Again, if you know anything, come forward. Don't let others take you into the gutter with them. This town is in a life and death struggle. This is war. You do what it takes to win. A man, woman, or city that is not afraid to die cannot be defeated. The people of Flint, Michigan must seek justice by any and all means necessary. The first responsibility of our elected leaders is to keep us safe. They failed miserably. I want to thank all those courageous men and women for exposing the state of Michigan, Flint, Michigan politicians as it relates to Flint, Michigan poisoned water, drinking water, that is killing people in untold numbers. Citizens of Flint, Michigan, you brought an incompetent lying mayor down. Let's bring an incompetent lying governor down. Keep fighting the good fight. Governor Snyder is not the first governor to go to prison, nor the last, although he just may be the first governor to go to prison for murder. All I can say is this is a mess. This water crisis in Flint, Michigan, is a mess. Denise, what is your thoughts?
Well, certainly I have a lot of thoughts about it, but overall, I am looking at what I believe to be a series of missteps, incompetence, and cover-up. And because of that, we have our children that have been affected, and the entire city has been affected. And at this point, I'm concerned about all of the monies that may be coming into this town, as well as all of the water that's coming in. And we understand that people have good intentions for the most part, and they want to make sure that people are receiving money and water so that they can have productive lives here. But the biggest issue right now is orchestration and structure, and that's one of the things that disturbs me, and I think I'll probably have more to say on it as we get into this conversation. But that's one of the things that really disturbs me right now, because I'm feeling some sense of disorganization, and there's an immediacy in terms of need for making sure that whatever resources come into our area and whatever the actual water that comes in, that it's distributed the way it should be.
Mr. Hatter, what is your thoughts?
Well, thank you, Denise. I think that a lot of this is theater, and I feel so bad about that. Mm-hmm. We will condemn 2 or 3 generations of kids who were born here, who live here. Mm-hmm. We will also add to the belief that we have low-performing schools in this city, mm-hmm. and many of the kids can't learn. But if that's true, so we will see no difference by them drinking the water. Mm-hmm. And what we have done is condemn those kids. Who's going to hire these kids if you're from Flint, Michigan? What colleges are going to take you? What school districts around the city of Flint, being the hub, are going to want to take those kids in? That will lower their standards mm-hmm. For academic achievement. Mm-hmm. You got to think about that. Mm-hmm. And I believe that we should have had a different approach to this. And yet the problem that's going to erupt, that's going to be an Achilles tendon to this water problem, is paying off the debt. Mm-hmm. What companies are going to want to move into this city and bring their kids, bring their families, create a business that's productive and that will add employment to this city? They will not look at the city for many years. And so I think it was a mistake to approach it the way that they did. I'm not taking anything away from the incompetence in the city who ran this. And if they did taint if they tapped anyway, interfered with the data mm-hmm. that came out of the laboratories on the quality of the water, they should go to jail. But I know, Ron, that you did mention the city council. They can't possibly know what's going on. They have no skills. Mm-hmm. And Wallen made a mistake. His mistake was letting the conversation on this matter be driven by people on the street. Mm-hmm. He should have, instead of speaking from a political spectrum, he should have called in all of his qualified managers, his technical people. Let the people who run the plant talk about the data, talk about the non-compliance issues, talk about where they are and where they think the contamination is. And how quickly can they turn this around? But he didn't. He spoke from his office and therefore turned this thing into a political issue. That was the wrong thing. And I know that there was a lot of momentum, and probably the mayor couldn't do much about that because there was momentum out there. But I compared this condition in Flint, Michigan to the condition they had in 2010 in Japan, where they lost 2 reactors that melted down, that contaminated the countryside for years.
Right.
And yet the Japanese never asked 1 penny from the United States, never went out and begged, never let anybody in. And the water and the air moved around the world, and we were all if maybe contaminated, affected by it.
We are.
But yet, we didn't say a thing, and they didn't say a thing, and they're not letting you in. And yet, in this country, in this little tiny town of Flint, Michigan, we go out and say, well, alas, we're the worst community in the world. Our kids can't learn. They're lead contaminated. But stop and think about it. Every one of you have drank the water here for years. You are as contaminated, more contaminated than the new kids born today. So it was just a wrong way to start it out, and and this problem won't be fixed for 15 to 20 years.
I understand that.
We don't have the money to fix it. The people here say that they're poor. They have no money. The infrastructure needs to be replaced every 50 years. Whether it's a highway, highways are much more frequent, maybe 20 years. But infrastructure on the ground needs to be replaced at least every 50 years, and more than that. And yet, we used to be a rich town. Used to be Flint, Michigan, with the largest income per capita in the world in the 1970s. And now, look at us. We are the scourge of the earth because we want people to feel sorry for us. We don't want to rise up on our own and take responsibility for the things that are ours. We are a self-contained governmental unit. It is our responsibility. It's not the folks in Clio or Goodrich or Grand Blanc or Detroit or Grand Rapids to come in and take care of Flint's water problem. It is Flint's problem. And the governor became involved in it because when your city government can't function and it can't balance the budget and it's violating the Constitution because they don't have a balanced budget, then the governor is required to send someone in to help that city get back to solvency. That's why the governor's involved. You know, it's too bad that it had to come to this, but maybe the next generation of leaders in this town will be better than what we've had in the past.
Henry, what you just said made a lot of sense up until the point when you said the governor had to send someone here.
Yes.
Okay. We have elected officials, and yes, maybe they weren't doing as well of a job as they could, but still, by the Constitution, they were elected in a due process situation, okay? And because of that, they were empowered by the people who elected them to do it. And if they weren't able to do it, then of course there was some help needed, but they didn't have to have that level of involvement. That was strategic. That was by design.
Yes,
and
it was by design.
Yeah, but what I'm saying,
the Constitution requires it.
yes,
We're a nation of laws.
I understand that, Henry. But what I'm saying to you, at the point when we had the issue and we were talking about the finances, that's when things were being cut. And when you're talking about your basic services here, water, come on, Henry. I mean, we're not a third world country, you know, and we're not espousing, and we're allowed, but we're not going to allow other people to define us in that manner. But that's what has happened.
Every jurisdiction defines itself. The other people don't define who Flint is, and we need to make sure that we define ourselves and accept responsibility for the job that we have to do.
I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's a fair statement, because we are not crying out for help like we
Everybody in the world sends you water.
They're sending us water because they feel sorry that we didn't get the help that we desired when we asked for it. We didn't ask for help last week. We asked for help 2 years ago when they switched it and the water was yellow and had stuff floating in it. We asked for help then. He didn't listen to us. It wasn't at the
governor wasn't that much involved.
Yes, he was involved. Henry, yes, he was involved. Wait, yes, he was involved because it was at his hand that the emergency manager had to report to him.
When he brought the emergency
he didn't report
manager,
to us because the city council was against the switch, but the governor talked with him and they decided to do the switch. So this is why we're at the governor's door. It's not because we're trying to have him feel sorry for us. It's his responsibility to come to the table and fix what he messed up.
He didn't mess it up.
He did mess it up.
You know what?
His leadership failed
us. You brought in Michael Moore, Jesse Jackson, and all of the other people to fix the water. Why are you asking the government to do something that even God can't do? It would take multi-million dollars.
And we have a surplus. So you let our schools fail. You let our water fail.
It's your
we have a surplus. It's his. He did all the cuts, and this is why we have problems. It's because he cut it from all of us. These small countries and cities. He didn't just go in Flint. He tore up Grand Rapids. He put an emergency everywhere.
Grand Rapids is very salty.
Everywhere he put an emergency manager, they failed. And I believe it's the same guy. How many places Eric been?
Detroit is coming back real well.
Early.
Benton Harbor, if you think about
Benton
Harbor.
Cities.
And there were probably about 7 major cities with a large constituency of African Americans.
Yes.
And so that's why there is so much emphasis on this, because it's not like we didn't ask for the due process. We asked for
people that know what they're doing.
Okay, but listen, you elect these people and then you strip them of their power to be effective. Okay, you can't have it both ways.
They were given lots of chances to be effective.
But you can't have it both ways. The people went and petitioned to make sure that we didn't have an emergency manager. And what did he do? He turned around and had the laws turned around anyway. So we had to have it. We said we didn't want that. We said we didn't want that.
If you got your people to do your work, do the work that needs to be done for the people who live in this city, I don't think the law or the governor really cares about the people who run the city, but he cares about the people, the common man.
He cares about the finances.
Well,
that's what he cares about.
That's a perspective that you could use.
No,
but
that's
I doubt whether the governor cares about the common people.
He couldn't.
Because he must keep this area and this state stable.
He cares about his base.
Yeah,
right.
But no,
okay.
The governor's
his base is on the west side of Michigan. It's not here.
It's not here.
The governor needs to maintain stability of the people who live within the jurisdiction of Michigan.
And he didn't.
And
but he's failed miserably.
He cannot be stable as long as people are hurting.
But he hurt them.
No,
he allowed it. He allowed it to happen.
What? Why?
He allowed
What
it.
did the
Remember
people
what I
do?
started off by saying? There was some incompetence going on,
Where?
okay, and some cover
That's
up.
not his fault.
Oh, yes, it is.
It's not if the people in the city are the incompetent ones.
No.
The buck stops at the top.
Yes.
And the email sent to him, they even disclosed the ones that he did allow to go out. And you know what it said? They thought it was a ploy for Wallen to be reelected. They laughed at him when he sent for requests for money. They laughed at him and they said that he is just trying to get reelected.
Who said that?
That's in the email. You didn't read it?
Did you look at the emails?
No, I didn't.
You need to take a look at some of those emails.
Yeah.
Well, I don't believe everything I hear, and a lot of that stuff is political.
This is what your governor sent out. He sent out a whole listing.
And then maybe that's
and there's
his
some that
feedback.
still need to be coming out.
Because
okay?
He kept those.
And I would like to see those emails that they blacked out.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, they
All
redacted.
right.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Because they requested all of them, so they didn't ask him for the ones
But the
that
governor
he preferred.
has said to the people of the city of Flint, not to the politicians, not to the people who have a spin on this, but he said directly to the people, he said, I will fix this problem.
And he lied.
No,
Right.
you got to
He
give
told
him.
so many lies on that.
Who's
on
going
that-
to believe
that state of the
him?
state,
Who is going to believe him?
Well, the governor.
Message.
The governor will serve out his term.
FEMA, Obama sent FEMA
Yeah.
Because FEMA was in Lansing because they had not received a call from the state of Michigan, and that's where they have to have it. The call has to come from the state of Michigan. They had not received a call. They were waiting in Lansing for them to disperse some help, and we had not. He just called them about 3 weeks ago. And this problem has been going on for almost 2 years. So he has not reached out like he should. They said they're still waiting on him. And then last night they also said that they're not going to release all these millions of dollars, and our governor is not doing that. We have to match. And he's not willing to match. He's doing his little stuff, and he's proud of that. He's worried about his reputation.
I don't know whether he's proud of that.
Yes, he is. He's proud of his reputation. You want to worry about his reputation.
See, I cannot deal with the political process here that's going on at this table, but I can deal with the professional, with the academic, but not with political jargon.
What are you talking about?
One way or the other. You guys are arguing politics.
No. We're looking at the string of events that have happened that got us to this point, okay? And this, you're talking politics. Your governor is a politician. Let's be clear. He had to go to New York and hire a PR firm to help him to repackage this whole thing so he doesn't come out smelling like the animal that he is.
Wouldn't you do the same thing if you were in the same situation? The governor has to make sure that the government processes are believable, and they generate stability.
But you said he cared. So, if he cared, that should be natural.
Well, no. You go out and try that. That shouldn't be coached. And I'm sure that the governor doesn't understand this whole water problem yet.
Oh, he understands it clearly.
He understands now that it has tainted his legacy, and that's what he's concerned about at this point. He's not all that concerned about the residents of this city.
Have you talked to the governor?
His career.
I'm looking at him. I'm watching.
His career is over.
Have you talked to him?
You can't. He won't answer questions. When he go to the interview, you cannot ask him questions. He already has a speech that he's given. Everyone has complained about it. He will not take questions from the floor.
And he's advised not to.
Well, I guess so.
Because that stuff has to be thought through by his professional staff. just like President Obama does.
Obama takes questions from the floor.
They're not even the same class, Henry. Right? Snyder and Obama's not even in the same class.
I don't know.
Snyder is a louse. All right, he's
what they're
going to call a has-been. His career is over.
Okay.
All right, I wouldn't give him a job shoveling manure on Mackinac Island. Okay, I really wouldn't.
But you have to
He can go back to his mansion. He can go back to his mansion on Getty's Road in Ann Arbor.
The new one. While we're in the middle of our process, he just bought a $2.4 million condo. So he didn't. I mean, this is not like worrying him to death.
And this makes you envious, right?
No, that makes me think that's not.
Wouldn't you like to have a $2.4 million?
Not when my people that I represent are suffering.
See, the issue here is, all right, is all of these folk. Many of them are going to die as a result of this incompetence. All right, Flint may not ever rebound from this catastrophe. All right?
Ron, that's not the information that I'm getting from the professional community. Well, not at all.
Well, that's why we're in this mess that we are, because these so-called professionals don't know their head from
I just listened to a report made by the doctor at the hospital.
Which doctors?
The doctors at Hurley.
At Hurley Hospital.
The Healthkin.
Okay.
And they were, the conversation was, how many kids are contaminated? You're testing kids who in the major areas where they've had contamination problems by zip codes. And the question was asked, well, how many kids, what are the levels of lead that you see? And it was assumed to be very, very low. We were discussing that at Hamilton Community Health Network with the doctors.
Okay, assumed.
And this was
assumed.
Assumed.
Okay.
Hang on. You want data. You want information that's credible from the right resources. And what I heard is that there's not high contamination in the kids that are here. This is all driven by theater.
Any contamination sends out a death sentence. with lead. Let's be clear on
The
that.
damage is irreversible.
Hold.
Okay.
You can accept 5 parts per million, 5 parts per billion of lead in your system. The government provides for that. Those level 5 parts.
Well, I'm not
5
familiar
parts
with
per
it.
trillion.
With that, I
5
don't
parts
know.
per trillion. And but if you guys hear that, you're all wound up over nothing.
No.
What are you talking about? Nothing. All these
Right.
children's lives are gone
Right.
and destroyed.
You can pick up 5
all right?
parts per
I'm talking
trillion
about
of
children's
water.
lives.
Just
all
in,
right?
just in groundwater.
The
Okay,
demise.
any water that you get.
The
Okay.
demise
My
of
water,
this,
I'm on a well. Now, but yeah, I might have 5 parts per trillion.
demise.
in my well.
The demise of this city.
Because
of Flint,
lead is
Michigan.
everywhere.
All right.
We understand that
The
lead
health
is
of this
everywhere.
city is shot.
But-
nobody's moving here. No businesses are gonna be here. There's not gonna be taxes to pay. You know what I mean, for to help pay for the infrastructure. I mean, it's more than just the lead issue now. Okay.
Our house values are going down. Who's
gonna buy? Who's gonna buy my house? Who's gonna buy
I
my
don't
house?
know. I didn't make an apartment. I didn't take the problem out to the world.
But it doesn't matter where it went. The problem is that it exists. It doesn't matter who it went to.
But it does. You're talking in terms of
No, because it doesn't matter where it went to. It just matters
Yeah.
that it exists and it's true. And it's not just an opinion. It's facts.
I don't think that there was anybody who's ever said that they wouldn't move to Japan.
Well, I hope this has been a great conversation, and I really don't see any relief for Flint in the near foreseeable future. I'm optimistic that that things will be able to rebound, but it's going to take some years. Okay, the population of Flint is going to continue to go down. No new businesses are going to come. All right, I wouldn't, if I had a business, I wouldn't relocate my business to Flint.
And yet
all
you
right?
condemn what goes on here.
I mean, I like this city. This is my adopted city. And I do what I can. For my meager resources will allow me to. Okay, but until next time, this is Ronald Berry Robinson and friends for the In My Opinion show.